Hello, and welcome to The Budget Mouse, a podcast that will help you plan an incredible Walt Disney World vacation, even if you're on a shoestring budget. I'm Leah Advertiser, and I've been helping people save money at Disney World for the past 10 years through my websites, podcasts, and courses. I'm so glad you're here, and let's dive in. Hey there, and welcome to episode 94. I'm back from a quick trip to Walt Disney World in May of 2024, and I'm excited to share with you all of the money-saving tricks, hacks, everything I did on this trip. So my goals for the trip, it was not a parks trip. So we did not go to a theme park because I had so much to do outside of the theme parks. So these are the things that we did on the trip. We spent really a full day at Typhoon Lagoon, went to the newest quick service restaurant at Disney Springs, stayed at an all-star resort for the first time in many years, checked out a Hyatt place that was right by Disney Springs to review, tried out the new rental car toll program, and my main goal was really through all of these things to just show you how far rewards that you earn from everyday credit card spending can go. So I paid for much of this trip with the rewards I earned from my Chase Sapphire Preferred card just from everyday spending over the course of the past year. So this card earns 3 points per dollar on dining and food delivery, 3 points per dollar on online groceries, 2 points per dollar on other travel, and then 1 on everything else. And wow, the points rack up so quickly for me. It's a little bit scary how much I spend on these, particularly elevated categories. So I'm going to break down for you what points I used to pay for the trip and then what I paid in cash. And we were there for a total of 4 days, and my out-of-pocket expenses were under $600 for everything that we did the entire trip because I was able to use my points and miles so much. Now, this is a plug for a free new reward travel course that I have just launched, and I'm really excited to share it with you, and I'm so happy that I can offer it for free. So the link to learn more about this course is thebudgetmouse.com/travelmore. That will take you to where you can register for the free course. It's under an hour, and it will give you the basics of traveling on points and miles like I'm going to tell you about in this show. So let's start with getting there. So flights both ways, it was my daughter and myself, I was able to book on points. We flew there on Southwest for 6,000 points total. Very, very cheap flights on Southwest, which is why I love transferring points from Chase Ultimate Rewards to Southwest, which I teach you in this free course. Then we flew home on JetBlue. The total was 8,000 points. Again, super cheap flights and transfer partner JetBlue for Chase Ultimate Rewards. And again, I will show you that in the free course. So those were our flights. Now we did pay $22 total in taxes and fees for the flights. So that went in the out-of-pocket expenses category. We spent one night at the Hyatt place, which I will tell you about shortly, by Disney Springs. That was 8,000 Hyatt points, also transferred from Chase Ultimate Rewards. And then I did rent a car for the first time, and I have no idea how long. It's been years. And I actually loved it. So I'll tell you more about that. But the car rental was 8,400 points booked through the Chase travel portal with Ultimate Reward points. Then I also used some Capital One miles that I had just lingering in my account to help pay for our water park tickets. I'll tell you more about that in a sec. So that was 5,200 points. Or miles. So my total spend on points and miles was 35,600. Now that was easily well below what I had earned in the past year from just everyday spending on my Chase Sapphire Preferred card. And the same thing with the Capital One miles that I just had hanging out from everyday spend. So let's talk about the nitty gritty of the trip. So we flew on Southwest. We got there. I rented a car. So I made the reservation through Chase Travel. I used Ultimate Rewards to pay for it. The reason I did that is because it was very affordable. So the car rental was 8,400 points. That's the equivalent of $84. So yes, I will do it. It was going to be cheaper to rent the car than it was to Uber back and forth to the airport. So in that situation, yes. Now, another thing to think about when you're renting a car in Orlando is that there are tolls. There are toll roads to get to and from the airport, and there's no way around them. So this has the tendency to jack up your daily rate of car rental, because in the past, really your only good option was to pay whatever the car rental company was charging you per day to use their toll system. However, recently a new program was launched by the Turnpike Authority in Central Florida. It is called Toll Pass. Oh, I hope I'm getting that right. Yes, Toll Pass. And this is how it works, and I'm going to do a blog post about it because I think it's a great way to save money, is you pick up a hang tag at the airport. There's vending machines. God, I love vending machines. Pick up the toll pass at the vending machine. You register beforehand in the app. There will be links in the show notes to this. And then you go and scan a QR code that you had registered beforehand. Now you give them a credit card in the app that they keep on file, and they're going to charge that credit card with your tolls. You pick up this hang tag and you hang it in the rental car rearview mirror. It then is scanned the first time you go through a toll, and it links your toll pass account to the license plate. And then every time you go through a toll, it registers to that. The great thing about the program is, as long as you remember to turn in the hang tag back at the airport when you return the rental car, there is zero cost other than the tolls. And that is incredible savings. I mean, for 4 days, it probably saved me $60 in the fees that the car rental company would have charged me to rent or to use their toll pass program. So it was great. And so if you don't remember to return the hang tag, it is $10 that it hits your card with. But even if you forget, you're going to save a lot of money by doing it. So look for more details in the show notes, link in the show notes to a post on the blog I'm going to do about it, or directly to the program. So that was great. Cheap rental car. It was a great rental car. It was through Thrifty. Well, I've rented from them a lot with varying results, but this time was a great experience. And the toll pass ended up being great. So our total cost for tolls was $5 for the whole trip. It was great. The first night we stayed at the Hyatt Place by Disney Springs. I was really hoping that it would be a stellar experience there. And I could highly recommend everyone to go there and stay on an arrival night or departure night like we were doing. However, I can't wholeheartedly recommend this place because it is just not being kept up with. It's really hard to keep up with maintenance at hotels. So the hotel is fine. Some pluses of the hotel are its location is really convenient to Disney Springs. If you were ambitious, you could walk to Disney Springs from there. I'd say it would be a 25-minute walk. We drove because we had the rental car, and there's free parking at Disney Springs. The rooms are big, and they can sleep up to 7 people in just one room. So that's a big plus to this place. The rooms are big, but not great. I mean, they're a little worn. The problem we had was that the thermostat wouldn't work in our first room. And the AC just kept going and freezing us. So we had to switch rooms. And in the second room, the TV wasn't working properly. And it would just go out and come back on. And I was like, oh no, they're just not keeping up with stuff at this hotel, right? We went down to swim in the pool, which is small but nice. They had no lounge chairs at the pool. They're just all like chairs. And I was like, oh, no one's going to want to hang out really at this pool. But maybe that's the idea. And then the hot tub was not working. So it was a cold tub. So again, it's just maintenance stuff at this place. So that's a management problem. I will say they sent me a survey afterwards and I completed it because, I had feedback, and the manager emailed me and they credited back 2,000 Hyatt points to my account. So at least trying to make it right. So hopefully they'll get things in gear there. But the other plus was that there's a nice free breakfast. It was good, real food, like real fruits, pancakes, eggs, sausage, everything. So real breakfast. And I know when you're traveling with a family with like teenagers that the value of a free breakfast is not something to take for granted. So that's a big plus to this place as well. So overall, that's my lukewarm review of this Hyatt place. I wish it was better. Now, what I would recommend is a quarter of a mile down the road is the Hyatt Regency Grand Cypress. And it is spectacular. However, it's probably double the Hyatt points, but still reasonable. I mean, that would be, I think it was 15,000 points per night. That's equivalent of $150. So I still think a great value. They don't offer the free breakfast, but they offer spectacular rooms and resort activities. I mean, the pool complex is unbelievable. It's a swim through grotto, pool, water slides, free resort activities, which is hard to find, where they'll just rent out paddle boards and bikes and everything too. You don't have to pay anything. So I love that resort. So that's where I would stay instead. It's my recommendation. So that first night we went and ate at the newest quick service restaurant at Disney Springs, which is Eat by Maneet. And it's Indian quick service. Again, I wish I could say good things about it, but I can't. The food was not good. It was gross. It's the nicest thing I can say. I love Indian food, and they're trying to do something that is really hard to do, which is make inspired, American friendly Indian food. And I think they would have had better luck if they had just done quick service Indian food, like Takeout Indian, which can be great. So it just was overdone. Basically, is too much going on in the dishes and greasy and not warm enough. I mean, I just have nothing good to say about it. And the location is super hard to find. I mean, I even knew what I was looking for, and it was hard for me to find. It's tucked away back in a corner in a kind of not visited part of Disney Springs. So I don't know how long it's going to last there, but I was hoping it would be good. But you can't win them all. Or the next day was spectacular. We had free breakfast at the Hyatt. We then drove the rental car over to Typhoon Lagoon, and I wanted to spend a full day there. The reason being is starting next year in 2025, if you book a package, a Disney World package, then you will get free water park entry just on your check-in day for everyone in your party. There's going to be increased interest in the water parks, and I want to be kind of a step ahead of that. And I have been to both water parks, but I haven't ever spent dedicated time to review it and spent time there to write about it and talk about it. So we got there. It opened at 10. I think we got there at 9:45 and parked, and we rope dropped the water park. It's a line to get into the main part of the park. It's a really great experience, arriving early, no one's there. You just kind of wander in. It is such a well-themed park. I agree. I read on Disney Tourist Blog that they think it's the best themed park in the world that Disney owns, and I agree with them completely. The detail and the theming, it's such a cohesive theme. And if you don't know what it is, it's that there was a horrible typhoon storm that came through a resort town and basically wreaked havoc on this resort town. And then so the place is kind of in shambles a bit, and there's a boat that got moved by the storm to the top of this mountain. And the theming is spectacular. It's really great. So you can wander around a bit in the morning and then rope drop. And then the main thing, and I'm going to do a whole show on Typhoon Lagoon, so I'm not going to go into too much depth, but we went and claimed our chair in the shade. And that's critical because those are the things that go first at Typhoon Lagoon. So I'm just going to summarize and say we had an awesome day at Typhoon Lagoon. No one was there. We were able to walk on every attraction all day long. That makes for a really fun day. Can you imagine that kind of day at Magic Kingdom? It doesn't exist anymore, but it still does at the water parks. I don't know if it will be next year once everyone's going, but this year it was, and it was awesome. So much fun. Had great food too. Then we went and checked into our room at Disney's All-Star Music Resort. The reason I booked a room there is it was so cheap through Undercover Tourist, which is going to be one of my 2 recommended places to book room-only reservations. Now, if you're booking a package and you want one of the package deals, if you want tickets, if you want the dining plan, then I always suggest going through a travel agent. Sierra Dizer with Destinations in Florida is my travel agent partner. She will help you and so much for free for booking a package. And if you have a more complicated room-only reservation, I also recommend using her. If you don't know where you want to stay, you don't know how long, she will help you make decisions, save money, apply discounts automatically, and so on and so forth. So I always recommend her for those kinds of situations. Now, this was a 2-night stay at a value resort. And so for me, I am going to look for the dirt cheap rates. I found the lowest rate through Undercover Tourist, which is my recommended tour ticket provider, but they also book hotels and they had the best rates. It was $125 a night to stay at All-Star Music in the spring, which is a normally very expensive time to go because the weather is fantastic and everyone wants to go to Florida in the spring. So that was a really great rate. So for the 2 nights at All-Star Music after tax was $280 through Undercover Tourist. So I also hadn't stayed at a value resort in many, many years, and I went in nervous. I went in nervous that it wasn't going to hold up to how I remembered it being, which was excellent. And it was also going to be disappointing based on the fact that I have been mostly staying at deluxe resorts lately, renting DVC points, which is my number one favorite way to get great hotel rooms for cheap at Disney World. However, I'm happy to say that All-Star Music met and exceeded all of my expectations and memories of the All-Star resorts. It was fantastic. These remodeled rooms, I have stayed in them before, but it's been a while. They are so functional and they're so clean and everything works, unlike the Hyatt. I mean, that's really what I just want. It's a room to work, right? But their maintenance at Disney World resorts is excellent. And so if anything isn't working right in the room, they will check it, they will fix it, and they won't put anyone back in the room until it's fixed, right? So we had a great time. There's so many resort activities. Value is insane for what you get for your $125 a night staying at the value resort. So I'm so happy that they're keeping up with them, because that's something that could fall to the wayside as Disney focuses on these other projects and what have you, but they are doing great at the value resorts. So some other things we did, we went to a character meal. We had a brunch. It was actually lunch. Well, I don't know. It was 11:30 at Cape May Cafe with Minnie and friends. And that meal I also hadn't been to, I think, in 8 years. So I was a little nervous going in. It was awesome. It was probably the best character meal I've been to in a long time. The character interaction was amazing. And I don't know if it was because we were at the very end of the meal. So the characters spent tons of time with everyone who was left lingering there at the very end. Going forward, I would only book the character meals. If you're having a day off at the resort, like book a brunch, the last seating you can get, because they keep all of the food out on the buffet until every last person is gone. And then they start pulling it. So everything was still available to us. That's incredible that they do that. And the characters will spend so much time with you if there's only 5 families left in the restaurant, right? So we met Minnie, Daisy, who's my favorite, Goofy, and Donald, and just had a wonderful time. And the food is fine. I mean, I don't have high expectations going into a character buffet, but I mean, again, it met my expectation. It was plentiful, many, many choices. The quality was good. And the reason we went to this character meal over others is that they accept the Chase Disney Reward Visa discount, and it's the only character meal that does. So out the door with tip and tax and everything, it was just over $100 for the two of us, which I know is insane for a lunch, but for a character meal, that is hands down the cheapest character meal you can get away with there. So I need to link in the show notes to the Chase Disney Visa. And even with the no annual fee card, you can get these dining discounts, which is incredible. So read more about that there if you're interested. We just kind of hung around the resorts after that. My daughter wasn't feeling well. We swam at the pool. We ate at the resort, which the food court was great. No problems at all with the food. The last thing we did, which I hadn't done in a long time, was go watch the Magic Kingdom fireworks from the beach at the Polynesian. Because I had the rental car, we were able to drive to the Transportation and Ticket Center, park there, and at the end of the day, you can park very close because there's available spots. We walked over to the monorail line. We hopped on the monorail and rode it one stop over to the Polynesian. And we could have walked, which we did on the way back, but it's just fun to ride the monorail even for 2 minutes. So we went I think we got there about 8:30. We got a Dole Whip at the Poly, walked down to the beach, and there with about, 200 of our closest friends, we watched the fireworks. The music was pumped in. And it was so loud, and it's never been that case before, but it was kind of like background music before you would hear the soundtrack for the fireworks. It was so loud, which I actually really liked. It felt more like you were there watching it. And it's such a good view from the Polynesian beach. It's different to see the fireworks from far away versus right up close in Magic Kingdom. When they were over, we walked back to our car, drove home, and we got home so quickly because we beat the crowds that were leaving Magic Kingdom afterwards because we were so close to our car. So if you've never done that, gone and viewed the fireworks from the Polynesian beach, it's a really fun experience and totally free. And then returned to the airport on that fourth morning. It was around lunchtime to return the rental car. And then I left at least an hour to get free lunch at the nice lounge that is at Terminal C. So we flew home on JetBlue, which flies out of Terminal C. And I'm a little embarrassed to say that the reason I flew home on JetBlue was to go to this lounge. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, this was a lounge you can have access to with Priority Pass, which you get through certain premium credit card, write a lot or promote these cards a lot. So I'm not going to say a whole lot, but I personally use them. And at some point in time, I would love to introduce them to my audience. But we love airport lounges for meals before you get on the flight. So I think our flight was at 2:15. And so we had lots of time to eat lunch and the food was awesome. This new lounge in Terminal C is amazing. I cannot say the same about the other lounges at the airport or Orlando airport in Terminals A and B. This new lounge in Terminal C is the only one I would go to, but it's great. So I wanted to go over all of the things I paid for with points and miles, what I paid for with cash, and then what we got free. So let's start with free. We got free lunch at the lounge. We got free transportation within Walt Disney World for staying at All-Star Music. My toll pass rental was free. My breakfast at the Hyatt was free. Oh, and one more thing. When we flew on Southwest, I got 2 free early bird check-ins with my Southwest card. So I have linked in the show notes to how to do that with the Southwest card. You get 2 per year and they're hoping you don't remember to use them, but I used them and they're worth $50 total. So I got that credited back to my account and we got free early bird check-in, which is great. So you don't have to be tied to your app to check in for Southwest. I already told you everything we paid for with points, car, Hyatt night, JetBlue flight, Southwest flight tickets. I got that statement credit for $52 off of the water park tickets. And then all of our food, tolls, character meal, flights, that was $598. So that's my ultra low budget, points and miles, wonderful trip to Walt Disney World. I think the highlight of it was actually All-Star Music Resort and how much we enjoyed just being at the resort and being in the room. It is so nice there. I really want to go back and spend more time at the All-Star and Value Resorts now because you can't get Disney Magic for that cheap anywhere else. It's such a great deal and overall a great experience. So thank you so much for listening and have a great day.